Ben, what would you have done differently? What should you have done differently?
I think, well, maybe our plan was slightly off. I think maybe we weren't quick enough to move things when things happened. Maybe we waited a little too long for them to come in, and they had an advantage on this flank. And we just capitulated.
OK, let's see what our experts thought of what you did. They've been watching. Saw the Attic come down. They watched all your planning. They watched all the execution being the operative word in this battle, as you so horribly let Scotland down. But don't feel bad. What do you think?
They did better than the Caledonians did the first time out. Which says a great deal about how the Caledonians did the first time out. You approached the battle with absolutely no idea of what you wanted to do. You didn't have an aim. And the best suggestion that I heard at the beginning, certainly from a strategic point of view, was from Sue, who said, run away. Get out of it. Conduct guerrilla warfare. Make the Romans hate this part of the world for the next 15 years. Get out of it. So you did not have an idea of how you wanted to win the battle. You didn't know what you wanted to make the enemy do. You finally roughed out an idea of kind of what you were maybe going to do, and didn't think about what you'd do if it didn't work.
I saw it slightly differently. I thought it was a classic case of fortune not favouring the brave, actually, because as I saw it, your plan may not have been watertight, but it was bold. And you had two very interesting and nicely planned flank attacks. The only problem was you launched them too soon, and you launched them without support. And they had some effect, but there's no one there to take advantage of it. From that point on, you became reactive and not proactive, and that cost you, because if you're reactive against Roman legions, you're almost always going to lose.
And things were happening on each part of the battlefield that you couldn't control. You couldn't shift forces from one place to another because everybody was engaged fighting nasty little battles. Now, that would have been okay if you'd had a great big bunch of guys held in reserve to go send in and swing the battle one way or the other. But you didn't. And one by one, the Romans were able to engage and destroy your surviving groups while they stood still, waiting for someone to tell them what to do. You lost the initiative.
I will say on a positive note, though, that the communication, given that you had the two parents down there and the children up here, was very good. You were clear, your orders were clear, your parents, your lieutenants stayed down below, they listened to your orders, and they tried to carry them out. The only problem was, were the orders the right ones? Communication, excellent. The plan, I think, was always going to fail, and that's the problem.
How did they do in reality? What happened in history?
Yeah, that one's a sad story to tell, actually. All right. Who gets there first? The Caledonians. They get the best piece of this battlefield. They get that nice uphill sight. They can see everything that's going on. They can watch the Romans come, and that is a nice starting advantage to go along with their huge numbers up there. The Romans come in, and Agricola, the Roman commander, keeps his Roman legions tight in the back where he can use them in case everything goes to rats on the battlefield. He's got them as the tactical reserve that he can use to swing the battle the way he wants, and he keeps some cavalry in reserve as well. And further to the front, he has got his auxiliaries. Now, these are Germans, pretty much, and the Germans are going to do the serious fighting for Agricola. And he's got some cavalry on the flanks. It all starts out with everybody chucking spears at each other. And we see javelins, and we see the pilum flying through the air, and some archery, and that doesn't really change anything. It's the customary way to begin, to give everybody time to set themselves up for the battle. Then, two things happen at once. Those chariots start to get going, possibly with some cavalry support. And they start coming in towards the Romans, try to get them going, try to get a battle going. And the Romans have got their cavalry on the wings here, and they're able to get the chariots and some of the Celtic cavalry out of the way. And simultaneously, the Roman auxiliaries are going to come up and start engaging the British main infantry line.
Now, the battle's not lost at this point. The Caledonians are in a tricky position, it is true, and their light troops have been pushed back, but they still have the advantage of the terrain, and they still have a potential surprise up their sleeve, and that is a flank attack. They detach infantry and move it round both sides of the attacking Roman columns. There is a possibility of envelopment here, particularly because they have such a vast majority in numbers.
But because the Romans have got their cavalry well in hand, they're able to use the cavalry who are committed and commit the additional cavalry who have been held in tactical reserve to come around and protect themselves from being enveloped on the flanks. You guys tried to go around the flanks. You succeeded for a little while. That's nice. So did the Britons in history, but the Romans were prepared and the cavalry came roaring in on the flanks.
Basically, the battle ends up, because the main part of the Caledonian force is pinned, it really comes down to close quarter fighting, and there's no one better than that, than the auxiliary troops, these Tungrians and Batavians, akin apparently to the Gurkhas of the modern-day British Army. These are the experts, and gradually they drive their way through the centre. It becomes a rout, and unfortunately, I have to tell you, casualty figures, 10,000 Caledonians to just 500 Romans.
And these legionaries here don't even have to wash the blood off their hands because they don't get involved on that particular day. So you're absolutely right. What do? Run away.
Finally, Eric, we're talking about Brits and Caledonians. When did Brits and Caledonians become one?
We're using the term British, we're using the term Caledonian to refer to the Celtic language-speaking inhabitants of the Isle of Britain and this region which was called Caledonia. That's not the tribal name of any of them, and they had all different names. We're not sure what was attached to which tribe. One thing we do know is that Caledonia was not inhabited by people called Scots at this point.
So the only thing that the Rose family can take away with them is that the people they let down today were not the Scots.
They were not the Scots.
Congratulations. Well done.
Bad luck.
Excellent. Thanks very much.
No one knows whether Calgacus survived his defeat at Mons Graupius. Within a year of his triumph, Agricola was recalled to Rome, and the overstretched imperial army was forced to withdraw from the highlands. The Caledonii retained their freedom after all.
There's something for everyone next tonight on UK TV. Here on documentary Wit Quicker Than You Can Say Have I Got 1993 for you. Relive Drake's last voyage over on History or switch to style to get inspired by living the dream. UK TV for the love of British telling.